Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Is my voice visible? Hey, sorry, is my voice audible? Clearly आ रहा है? Video is coming clear. Hi, good morning everyone. Prajakta, Avinash Mane. Great. चलिए super, super. Okay, let's start. So we will continue the discussion around inflation. आज एक छोटा सा केस स्टडी देखेंगे एंड देन आई एम गोइंग टू गिव यू अ डैशबोर्ड जो आप यूज़ करोगे इन ऑर्डर टू अंडरस्टैंड मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स एंड कौन कौन सा डेटा पॉइंट देखना है, क्या फ्रीक्वेंसी पे चेक करना है एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. ठीक है. सो विद दिस सेशन वी विल एंड दिस सीरीज ऑन इन्फ्लेशन दिस वीक. Next week, we are going to go into the world of interest rates. It's going to be a 5-part series on interest rates, and then we will move into currency the following week. All right. Then growth data, and then we will go to overseas economies the following week. So it will be a series on macroeconomics every week. So this week we are ending with inflation. Next week interest rates. Then we will move into currency, then growth and overseas. ठीक है? Ready? All right. अच्छा. Okay. Welcome everyone. Okay. Super. चलिए देखिए, where did we end today? Last time. देखो एक सेकंड, इसको मैं बंद कर देता हूँ. देखो, where did we end last time? So last time we ended on the trajectory of inflation, the trend and so on. देखो, लास्ट कुछ महीने से ना हम लोग बहुत सारे स्टेटमेंट सुन रहे होंगे कि ऐसा कि क्रूड बढ़ गया है, मार्केट गिर सकता है, इन्फ्लेशन धीरे धीरे ऊपर की तरफ चला जाएगा, थोड़ा वेट करते हैं, रेट्स बढ़ रहे होंगे, कहीं जाएगा, अभी रिस्की है. सो व्हेन यू हियर दिस, डू यू एक्चुअली नो व्हाट हैपेंस नेक्स्ट, और डू यू जस्ट नो दैट समथिंग इज रॉन्ग? बताइए. जब इस टाइप का स्टेटमेंट्स आ रहे हैं, सो डू यू एक्चुअली नो व्हाट विल हैपन नेक्स्ट, और डू यू जस्ट नो कि समथिंग इज रॉन्ग? बताइए तो, राइट इन द चैट बॉक्स. जो भी आपका ख्याल है प्लीज राइट, ऑनेस्टली लिख लीजिए. समथिंग इज कुकिंग सेज राकेश कालरा. समथिंग इज कुकिंग. ओके. Virendra Jain says, I know. Beautiful. But something is, Piyush Gandhi says, something is not good. Okay. Because this is where most of us operate. We are aware, but we are still not entirely clear. देखो, हमको ये तो पता है कि क्रूड का इम्पैक्ट इन्फ्लेशन पे होता है, इन्फ्लेशन का इन्फ्लेशन का इम्पैक्ट इंटरेस्ट रेट्स पे होता है, एंड इंटरेस्ट रेट्स का इम्पैक्ट मार्केट्स पे होता है. बराबर. हमको ये पता है कि क्रूड का इम्पैक्ट इन्फ्लेशन पे होता है, इन्फ्लेशन का इम्पैक्ट इंटरेस्ट रेट्स पे होता है, एंड इंटरेस्ट रेट्स का इम्पैक्ट मार्केट्स पे होता है. ये सब तो हमने लास्ट कुछ दिनों में देख लिया है. नाउ व्हाट वी डोंट नो येट कि हाउ दिस चेन एक्चुअली प्लेज आउट. Okay, what comes first, what to watch, and what most importantly when opportunity starts building, उसको identify करेंगे कैसे. So what happens? So we react, थोड़ा लेट करते हैं, and उसके वजह से clients confuse हो सकते हैं, and decisions can become defensive instead of strategic. Now let me tell you something very clearly. Markets are not random. They actually all follow a sequence. एंड पहले क्रूड मूव्स फर्स्ट, उसके बाद इन्फ्लेशन बिल्डअप होता है, देन उसके रिएक्शन में इंटरेस्ट रेट्स मूव करता है, एंड देन द मार्केट्स एडजस्ट टू दैट. बट बाय द टाइम ऑल ऑफ दिस बिकम्स न्यूज, द रियल मूव हैज ऑलरेडी हैपेंड. सो टुडेज सेशन इज अबाउट breaking this down, not in theory terms, but in a way where you can see the sequence clearly. And I am also going to give you a plan where you can track it weekly basis and speak about it with confidence. ठीक है, चलेगा? Because at the end of the day, you don't need more information. We need a better way to connect the dots. Okay, ready? Everyone? Ready? All right, chaliye. Let us start. Give me a minute. I'm going to download my presentation. And then we will get started. ठीक है. Is it visible now? हाँ, Piyush, Karthikeyan, Yash, Birendra. Visible? Slide deck is visible? Okay, चलिए. So this is going to be a definitive framework जिसके आधार पे you can map out inflation, track liquidity and upgrade your overall client conversation, communication. देखो, always focus on the signals that actually move the markets. Okay, definitely you don't need too many things to be tracked. आपको 20 indicators you don't need to track. You just need the right 5 to be tracked on a consistent basis. And we will identify which are those 5 signals, which are those 5 parameters or signals that we have to look for, but on a consistent basis. Okay. देखो, let us look at the anatomy of a cost push inflation. Okay. 2020 से लेके 2022, 2020, 2021, 2022, crude oil prices started to move up. Okay. Now, crude moves from, look at a situation, if crude moves from $70 a barrel to $110 a barrel. Okay. Fuel prices rise. Transport costs increase. And then manufacturing costs rise. This is the trigger. This is the start. Because of which it forces a spike as food transportation becomes expensive, CPI starts to go up, inflation builds, and goods and services also adjust to the higher food prices, transportation cost. This forces Reserve Bank of India to step in and raise interest rates and tighten liquidity. अगर situation खराब हो रहा है, they will step in and tighten liquidity and raise interest rates. So this is the start of a cost push inflation. Okay. Now, why is Indian economy vulnerable to a situation like this? Indian economy is vulnerable to a situation like this because 80% of India's crude oil consumption is actually imported. If the crude oil is imported and crude oil prices are going up in the international market, automatically what it means is that the higher international crude oil prices will get transmitted to domestic market, and it's going to have an amplified impact because we are hugely dependent on imports, resulting in high logistic cost and so on. In this situation, RBI will step in and they will have only one objective, and their objective would be to kill this excessive demand to control inflation. Because international oil prices के ऊपर तो control नहीं है, but domestic extra demand अगर कुछ build up हो रहा है, they're going to kill that. How does the market absorb these macroeconomic shocks? Okay. So, since the Reserve Bank of India is squeezing out the market, that means they are raising interest rates and squeezing out excess liquidity. Okay. Now, in such situation, oil and gas sectors will definitely see an upswing. Commodity prices will start to see an upswing. So, all these winners in the space would be these highly capital intensive companies like oil, gas, commodities and so on. And there would be outflows being seen from companies which are consumption driven, automobiles, real estate, interest rate sensitive companies, companies which are highly dependent on borrowings and so on. Okay. Markets move when inflation stops getting worse. Market doesn't move all the time. Market will move, just a second. Market will move when the trend reversal happens. Markets don't wait for inflation to fall. They move when the inflation stops getting worse. So I'm going to give you this 6-part. So what are the things that you can be tracking on a weekly basis? Okay. This 5-6 parameters are absolutely good enough. First thing to be tracked is liquidity, money. Check for RBI stance. Is it a easy money stance or a tight money stance? And banking liquidity, money and liquidity. Easy money means bullish trend, tight money means cautious movement. Then look for crude oil price movements and metal prices, commodities and crude oil. इसका trend पकड़ लीजिए. If it is rising, that means inflationary pressure can kick in. If it is falling, that means there is going to be a relief in the market. Third thing to track is interest rates. Check the 10-year GSEC yield from the NDS market. Okay. Rising yields means putting pressure on equities, because if interest rates are going up, if the yields are going higher, that means people will move towards bond. It's going to shift the money from equities towards bonds. Falling yields are very supportive of the equity market. Finally आता है last दिन inflation. Check the CPI trend. Whether rise कर रहा है, fall कर रहा है. If it is rising, that means margins will come under pressure. If it is falling, margins are expanding, growth will get supported. E stands for earnings. Check the corporate margin trends. Improving margins, bullish signal. Contracting margins, that means companies' profitability is coming under pressure. And finally, trend. Check the index trend and sector rotation. Follow where the money is actually flowing. MARKET. Now, what are the opportunities if you track the market in this manner? देखो, when crude stabilizes and rates stabilize and liquidity improves, these are the opportunity zones. Okay. Prepare for additional deployment of capital into the market. Crude is stabilizing, interest rates are stabilizing, liquidity is improving. This is a Goldilocks zone. These three, if these three things are happening, even two out of three things happening, it's an opportunity zone. Caution कब होगा? When crude oil is rising and interest rates are rising and liquidity is falling. Be cautious. Expect that valuations will come under compression. You don't need to track it every day. While you can track it on a weekly or even a fortnightly basis is absolutely fine. Checking the trend twice in a month is the minimum that you would do from today. So what are the 5 things that you would check? Number 1, check the crude oil trend. Second, check the 10-year bond yield. Third, check RBI's liquidity stance. Fourth, observe which sectors are moving. And put all of these things together to come up with one client-facing insight that you can convey. That's it. Just follow these things. Check crude oil trend, 10-year GSEC, RBI liquidity stance, observe which sectors are moving, and convert all of this into one client-facing insight. Upgrade your conversation. Focus on that. Don't just say कि market uncertain है. Rising crude and tightening liquidity are creating short-term pressures, but we are tracking the shift closely. Remember, you don't need to track 20 different things. These 5 are just absolutely fine. Perfect. All the best, everyone. Have a fantastic day ahead. Tomorrow there is no session. It's Maharashtra Day. We are closed in Mumbai. And I'll see you exactly on Monday, straight on Monday at 10:10. All the best. Bye-bye.